out here.
Hi, my name is Carlos. I travel, I tattoo, and I take it all in. One country at a time, one tattoo at a time. Travel is what inspires me. Tattooing is what guides me. This is how I interpret the world. This is the global canvas.
What's up? How goes? Hello, Cadet Magnetic. How you doing? How are you? Don't worry about me. How are you? I'm in a mood today. So I figure we should paint. We should paint. Painting, right? Painting helps something, from what I hear. Hopefully everybody's had a good week. I've had some cool stuff going on down here. My buddy Tyree sent out a new lamp setup for me, and I'm very thankful for that. It'll give us some better lighting for the stream. I got it set up right now, but I'm gonna really fiddle with it tomorrow or Sunday. Either way, I'm gonna fiddle with it in a couple days when I got some more time. Hello, Tyree. We were just talking about you. Thank you so much for sending through the lamp. I ordered some polarizing filter film to put over the bulbs so I don't get any reflections coming back up into my camera. And that's supposed to be here tomorrow. Cadet, you may have missed some streams. I'm not sure. We did one. Really, all I think you missed was putting the background in, starting the cityscape in the background. As far as today goes, you see this little bit of like stutter that's here. I'm using my iPhone for my camera right now because I want to do some sharper details here, and my iPhone seems to be the right camera for zooming in. But it keeps having like technical malfunctions, so if I scream and then the screen goes black, it's because I can't handle it anymore and I decided to just shut the stream. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But yeah, so we decided to give some life to the background to put this in more of a universe. Can't stay for a whole stream. Got an individual. Oh, it's totally straight, dude. I'm excited for you. I feel like you are probably one of their biggest fans, so that's awesome. Let's get into it then, and we'll play around for a little bit at least. I don't know if this is going to be a long stream, short stream, medium stream. I have no idea. Let's do some zoom in here and see if I can get this to focus where I want it to. Right on the booty. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see. I'm gonna go here, go here. I'm gonna bring in, yeah, right in there. I want to work on this section tonight. That open sign is scorching. Oh my goodness, it's so bright. As far as what brushes are we gonna use? We're gonna use tiny brushes tonight. Some rounds. Try to get some good detail in there. I just want to develop this hand. I have no reference for this hand. I'm just gonna go off of my memory of how to paint hands, how to draw. Had a good day tattooing. I had an amazing week tattooing. I just feel exhausted, so I think we'll do some painting. And then I'll go to beddy buys. And I'll wake up and I'll do it again tomorrow. Yay! Okay, so I need to mix up some flesh tones, some believable flesh tones. And I still have a relatively small palette out from my last session. But let's just keep mixing with these and see what I can come up with. I could pour out all my different colors, but it looks like I made a little pile here of some flesh adjacent tones, which means that I have the necessary tools here to mix up some flesh tones. So I'm gonna start making a little pile of liquid here, and let's see what we can do. Take some red. Take some of this Naples yellow. Jeez, oh Pete's, I probably should pour out some, huh? A little bit of this raw umber. Ooh, man, yeah, that's a mess. All right, let's calm down, Carlos. Let's take a minute. try to mix up some believable flesh tones. Yeah, it's not too terrible. I mean, it's a little bit more yellow than pink, which means what? Add some red. Here, now we're getting like a little bit of a blush color. Has the week been long for you because you've been waiting for your concert? Your trip? It sounds like it's an out-of-town concert or something. Alright, let's see what we can do with these tones here. I can always throw some more white up here to make some brighter tones. Alright, cool. Nice. Alright, I think I got some believable colors here, eh? What do you think? Should we give it a shot? Try to do some painting? A decent amount of this hand is in shadow, actually, the back end of it, because the light source on this is coming directly in here. Let me identify some more finger shapes here with this lighter tone that we mixed up. I don't want to go too insanely bright with this stuff because it's still like a night scene. But we could really benefit from being able to actually see this hand and what we're looking at. This is wild how when I really zoom in, and this is just the nature of paint and the nature of abstract style brushstrokes or whatever, but when I really zoom in, it's like, oh my god, this is like so blurry. It's so like chunky and abstract and not photographic looking, but also that's perfectly fine because we're zooming in insanely tight, so that will happen. Alright, I'm going to come in and start playing with these warmer tones because that bright white there is going to be mixed with some of these reflective tones anyway, so I'm not going to commit too much to those hues anyway. Should cool this down just a little bit and grab some violet gray. When in doubt, add violet. It's something art teacher told me once. I took a continuing education course, or a oil painting course at Schoolcraft College many years ago. And that was one of the only formal art classes I've ever had. Everything else is self-taught. But I did get some good lessons in there. I got some good suggestions in there. I got some good perspective in there. And I highly suggest, if you're thinking about it, taking a continuing education art class, because it's just like, it's a drop-in class at the community college that I took it at. It was relatively inexpensive. It was like $100 for 11 weeks, and got a lot out of it. Now, obviously, having said that, you have to buy all your supplies, and that becomes kind of pricey, but either way, it's relatively inexpensive for a wealth of knowledge. I wrote a ridiculous rap lyric in my head riding earlier on my scooter, and it's not about my wife, but it is like, you know how hip-hop like references my girl or whatever, so this has nothing to do with my wife. But I came up with this line that I said, it was right there. It was right in the front of my mind. It's something like, my girl smells sweet like cat piss and turds, and she built like DeVito from Batman Returns. I snuck it behind her to try to squeeze her butt, and looked up and realized I'm squeezing her front. So stupid. Oh, Lord. I'm just dancing off the tip of this brush right now. I'm barely putting pressure on. I just want to flood in some of these new tones before we really figure it all out. I'm also gonna need to create like let me just get my bass tones in for this hand, and then I'll start bending to these neon lights. It's very silly. I am a silly person. So you can see I'm controlling the direction of light already by having the highlight really just hitting this inside here, where the light would be coming in from this direction. Back here is going to have some shadows. It's going to cast onto this arm too. And the highlights that will hit this arm are really just going to be kind of like edge work, to be honest. I think really what's going on is I'm coming down from a couple big days. So this week I did like 15 hours of tattooing over the course of 2 days on a buddy from out of town. Came up, we did 2 days in a row, and I got to do some really cool creatures on him, like a neo-traditional, traditional, new school, like vague style of a snapping turtle and orb weaver spider, Hercules beetle, and a bearded dragon. And we had such a great time. We were laughing so hard. We bonded. And then today I had one of my favorite clients ever. Again, laughing, bonding. And then like as soon as we wrapped up and hopped on my scooter to drive home, I just started going, ooh. So hopefully painting saves the day. We'll see. If not, I just need some rest. That's all it is. Cadet, I don't know if you care about such things, but our subscriber count is going through the roof right now on the channel. It's pretty exciting. Very happy with the progress we've been making and what comes next. Yeah, making art usually helps with funks. It's not like an existential funk, it's literally just feels like a drop. It just feels like I'm in drop. Alright, so I want to make a darker, yet still warm tone for the shadow side of this hand. And when I put this raw umber in, it really destroys the chromatic power. But I feel like if I keep adding a little bit of alizarin crimson, it warms it up. That's nice. That's really nice. This flesh palette here is to die for. I love this. I'm using a watercolor brush for all this because it gets to like the tightest tip. Like it's a round, obviously. Let me move it so you can see it. But look at how tight that gets. That gets to like the individual bristle up front. Issue is the issue with these brushes though is that they're so soft that they'll just like straight up fan out if you push too hard. It'll do like how this goes and spreads. It happens with these, so I gotta have a really light touch if I want to pull this off. And again, we're sans reference here, so we're just going off of shapes, direction of light, and what I think a hand may or may not look like. I bet you just from doing this that it ultimately looks fine, no matter how ugly it looks right now, blah blah blah. Who cares? Where's the show at that you're going to? You said Orange County, but Orange County where? Orange County is like one of the most popular names for cities in America. So to give you a preview of what's going through my mind right now when I look at this, I'm going to try to just narrate the things that I see. I see this fingertip here. That's essentially the middle finger. We got our index, middle, and then the other ones disappear behind here. This is either the ring finger or the pinky sticking all the way out. But the back, it's just one tone essentially. I do see a little bit of a highlight edge over there, but it's basically one tone. So I need to darken the back side of this finger to put it in shadow. However, we get into this fun little zone where the finger will be in shadow, yes, but light passes through the flesh and warms it up a little bit. So even if it's in shadow, it might still have a little bit of like translucency to it. So if in that case, I'm going to have to mix up a nice warm tone to put like through these fingertips and thumb tip and try to make that glow through effect come in. It's at the House of Blues in Anaheim. Oh, cool. Boyfriend works here, so he hooked me up with tickets, and I'm meeting with some online friends as well. Awesome, dude. Very, very cool. Do you live in California, or are you just flying out? Which is an honest question because I routinely fly to California just for stuff. I want so bad tomorrow to fly out to to Connecticut. I found out so last minute that Rob Zombie's having his first gallery show of paintings that he's ever done, and tomorrow's the opening reception. And if this was 5 years ago, this is pre-COVID, height of the tattoo industry, making a couple $100,000 a year, balling out like a G, I would just reschedule my appointment tomorrow, hop on a plane, and go right there. But those days have come and gone for the tattoo industry, and now we have to be very careful with our finances. And that's okay too, because that's an adult thing to do, and tattooers like myself are basically just pirates making money and spending it and being irresponsible 24 hours a day. Alright, so what I did is you can see, put together a warmed up tone. Just going to indicate a little bit of that on here where the flesh warms up, where the light passes through. Oh, in Texas, okay. That's cool. You said working at shows, okay. What do you do? You bounce? You a bartender? Are you a photographer? You do door? I need information. I must know with whom I'm speaking. Thank you so much, Tyra. I was gonna say straight up, if you were to text me, I can't because I'm using my phone tonight for my camera. That's a bummer. I was gonna say if you text me right now, I will literally drag and drop to replace this music because I have been listening to this for almost 30 hours of painting. And this is a Suno beat, so this is trash, you know? It's not even real. I don't have the time, but beyond that, I don't have like Reason or anything like that anymore, and I don't really have the time to make my own beats like we used to. I know you do because that's your whole life, but for me, unfortunately, it's metal music sometimes. But even this album I'm working on right now, I feel like one of those underground rappers right now, because the metal album I'm working on now, I've been chipping away at for almost, January will be 4 years of working on it as a side project, which is okay with me because that's literally what it is. It's a side project to all the other stuff I'm doing. And even though I'll release it like on Spotify, iTunes, all the streaming platforms, it's still just like a project for me to be creative and express that creativity and do a lot of world building and whatnot. But yeah, it's like 4 years of chipping away at one album. It's not unprecedented. People have done that, but it's just so weird for me. You know, me used to knock tracks out like crazy. And what I'm working on right now, like the concept album, it's so convoluted and drawn out that I'm going to need to write a novelization version of it to really get people to understand what the story is. Or I will have to set up another channel to live stream this type of, like, you know, doing this but music related, so I can walk people through, you know, an hour-long conversation of the whole plot of the album. Oh, you work merge, that's cool. Very cool. Many years ago, I went and I saw Zach Galifianakis, if you know who that is, comedian Alan from The Hangover. This is before The Hangover ever even happened. And when I saw him do stand-up in Detroit at St. Andrews, and I bumped into my friend Mike from high school and from being around the music scene, and he was running merch for St. Andrews. I think St. Andrews proper, not just Zach. Maybe he was touring with Zach. Actually, that does sound kind of familiar. Anyway, and I was talking to Mike. I was like, yeah, man, I want to meet Zach. And I want to get him to autograph my arm so I can get it tattooed over. And he was like, why? He's just a mortal man. And that always stuck with me. I think he underestimated. I mean, Mike has dumb tattoos too. He has literally has a bullseye, like, dartboard tramp stamp that he got. Like, he and I both have ironic tattoos sometimes, let's put it that way. But I was like, why are you doubting me on this, man? I would totally get that tattoo. I love Zach. Very funny guy. So what I'm doing, you can see I'm dancing off the very tip of this brush, and I'm blending these tones together as I go to avoid to avoid having to blend it later with a tiny little blender brush. I could just kind of push one pigment into another. Alright, so I don't know if I have any of this still wet. I do. I want to carve in around the hand a little bit, that background, so I can shape it better. I should really be using a different brush for this part. That's right. I'll get this brush all weird, and then I'll just grab a different one when I come back to the flesh tones. How's that sound? So what I want to have is like this saturated, messy, like little purple tone here that looks like something I was using back here. Shape out the bottom of the hand a little bit. Pull this back, shape out the wrist a little bit. She doesn't have to have giant Popeye arms, so we can clear that up. Hey, what's up, Jessica? Yeah, these detail vids are fun. I don't know if you just tuned in or if you just started chatting, but if you didn't hear me earlier, I've been having camera problems tonight. And if by chance my camera freezes, I'll throw us into a little commercial break and then I'll fix it. So don't run away if you see me take us to commercial. But thank you. It's good to have you here. You are so much more than welcome to throw any questions or anything my way while I was about to say tattooing, while I'm painting. Keep me distracted. I try not to overthink anything, so if I get quiet and I start trying to focus on techniques, I know I will begin to make mistakes. Because I'll be focusing too much on rules and what I'm doing. Which is why like doing like tutorials is always a tricky thing, because for most painters, at this point I've well past my 10,000 hours in painting, so I could do this like just watching TV without even like questioning like shape and light and texture and blah blah blah. But I'm doing this part for you guys. I want you to know what I'm up to. So if you have any questions, throw them my way and I will be able to answer them while I work. I really wish, so I was looking into a new camera entirely before we did start the stream tonight. I might buy one, it's a couple $100, but it comes with a physical detachable 15x zoom lens that I can just connect right to it, and that could solve so many of these issues that I've been trying to balance between light and camera quality and video filtering and whatnot. But there are some noticeable from my end, not from yours, color differences. Like all of this blue here is like actually like it looks periwinkle on the screen, but this is actually kind of it's a purple for sure, but it just means like the blue light sensors on this camera just aren't great at picking up these purple tones properly. Okay, so now that I have a little bit of that figured out and shaped out, let's go ahead and throw some light on the fingertips. Zoom this out really quick. I would say, given where she's standing in this space, it would make more sense for her to be illuminated with more of the pink light than the orange. However, this is a universe that we're making the rules in, so let me put a little bit of orange light on because I wanted to. I didn't want so much pink on her fingers on the flesh. I wanted to see it brighter orange. So let me work on mixing this color up and we can give her some highlights on the tip of the fingers. Almost like she's blocking this light from her. I mean, I know she's looking up at the sky while she's stretching, but it gives it that vibe like blocking out the light, like Kramer or something opening the door and being blinded. It was a dumb reference, but you know what I'm saying. All right, let me see if this brush will be tight enough to do these details. Oh yeah. What's funny is the view that you guys have, because it's zoomed in digitally, is tighter than what I have here. So as I'm putting in details, I keep looking over to the computer monitor to be like, is that where I was going? Yeah, it is where I was going. Is that what I was trying to do? Yeah, it is what I was trying to do. Yeah, I like the warmth on that. Now there's like a little halo of purple around there though from the previous shape, but that's cool. It's fine. We'll buff that out. I'm just gonna put some of this tone next to that hand and just pull it backwards. Try to make that line edge in there, sorry, that line edge right there, just part of the overall background now, so that it doesn't look like it's outlining the hand. It's just next to the flesh tone. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. Better. Closer. Warmer. You guys playing any video games right now? My brother works on Halo, and they just had a huge announcement this afternoon that they're going to be releasing a not just like a HD like upscale, but like a full-on reprogrammed original Halo Combat Evolved campaign. And they're doing the Halo tournament this weekend too. That's exciting. I will pick it up. The weirdest thing on that is that it's going to be PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. And the idea of playing Halo on PlayStation just sounds so strange of a concept. It's like such a what? Foreign idea. Round this off a little bit. Borderlands 4, that's cool. You say old school Animal Crossing. What are we talking about? You talking about, I know it doesn't sound right, huh? Are you talking about like GameCube? If you want to start talking old school, I'm talking to a 40-year-old man here. Let's start rapping about GameCube. Yeah, it's coming together. Coming together real right, very nice. Very, very cool. Yeah, GameCube, absolutely. It's one of my favorite systems of all time, for sure. And I remember, like, I wasn't like a kid when it came out. I was probably like 19, honestly. But I remember feeling so proud that I raised my own money to buy my own system, because anything I'd gotten before was a gift. I'm using the dry brush here to push in and blend out some of the chunkiness of these tones here. Just applying pressure to the canvas and letting the spread of the tip of the brush do the blend for me. See how these are slowly melding into one another? Pretty cool. There's some pretty serious shadow shapes I'm going to need to get into here. But I think once I blend out this back part of the hand here, yeah, should be good. Should be able to start moving on to some shadow shapes. Let me ask y'all a question, because I'm not on your end, I'm only on the streaming end here. When I go to stream for the night, do you only get the update when it's live, or do you get it when I schedule it, where it says like coming soon and all that stuff? This is nice. I'm already happier. Okay, so a couple tricky things. One, this is the front roll of the bicep, and then this is like the ditch in the elbow here. Looks kind of boob shaped though, because where it's coming out, I don't know if I can do anything about that. I honestly don't know if I could do anything about that, so we're gonna have to, maybe I could put it in shadow. Might be able to put it in shadow. Get the update so it's live, but notifications are broken. Okay, right on. Yeah, I never know these things. Okay, so maybe I should get another brush for some shadows. And this, I'm gonna straight up just take my shadow tone and try to drop it on and over what we have already. Because there's a lot of liquid medium mixed in here, I may be in a situation where I'm gonna have to wait for this layer to dry before I can really shadow glaze that hand. But let's take some chances. Let's see what happens. This is all about failing in front of people, so let's fail. Right now I'm just imagining how much of this hand is not receiving any actual light source. Because if one light's coming from there, one light's coming from back this way, there's a little bit of ambient light coming from the world up here, but not much. And that means if there's a knuckle here, that's going to get darker. Around this turn, that's going to get darker. I definitely need a warmer shadow tone, so I'm going to put in some alizarin crimson down here into the shadow. I'm going to need to knock that value down though, because that red is going to be too warm. So to do that, I could dip into this raw umber. However, that'll destroy the chromatic value, and I just want to really tint it. So what I'm going to do, believe it or not, is grab a little bit of phthalo green, mix the green with the red, and it's going to give me a nice burgundy-ish shadow. Look at that. Remember, you can always mix across the color wheel to desaturate, yeah. So you can mix with a complementary color and desaturate back all the way down to gray if you want. And you can get varying tones of gray. This is going to be too red, I can already tell. But maybe I can mix it in with the paint that's already there, and it won't be an issue. And you get some pretty neat gray colors by mixing across the color wheel. Like you use violet and yellow. And depending on which violet you use, you'll end up with like a warmer gray. Or you could use blue and orange and end up with a cooler gray. You know what I mean? Alright, I'm going to have some of this back of the hand casting the shadow down the forearm. So let's just pull it in this direction here. Let it blend out as we get further away from the main shadow section there. And I may be able to pull this in, and we'll see. We'll give it a shot. If I don't like it, we can always remove it. Yeah, Cadet, I don't want you can always go back and watch the VODs. I don't want you to feel like you missed out on too much here. With the off. Because I do tend to try to sneak in one previously recorded stream per week, so I can schedule it on a day that I can't commit to painting live. So you can always tune in, follow the updates. Don't feel like you missed too much. This was a huge jump, adding a cityscape in the background instead of just that light. That was about as huge of a jump as deciding that it is a nighttime scene now instead of a daytime. I think you were here for that decision though. That was pretty cool. Yeah, this is looking nice. Okay, so I got ahead of myself and I started blending those other tones. Let me get back to the shadow color and see if this works. This disappears back into space. Because if the arm, even if the arm is open and away from the body, it's still going to be, it'll receive some of that orange pink light, I guess, on the front of the bicep, but then it'll start to shadow as it comes down underneath this way. So with all that logic at hand, let's just toss some shadow in here and see how it looks. And if we don't like it, we can always get rid of it. Especially easily because I don't think there's any wet paint here right now. So I could just snatch it out. Now it looks like gore, like the arm is sliced. But that's also probably due to the fact that there's no wet paint that I'm blending into, so I'm just dragging red directly on top of dried paint, and it's not forming any new tones. So let's just play around with this little crease here for a minute and see what we can pull out. Don't like that, but that's why we have these shadow tones here, because that's just one flat value at this point. And what I'm doing is, while I have this pigment on my brush, I'm going to use it down here to unify these mid-tone colors, so it doesn't always like look disjointed. And then I'll blend these into this pigment here, and it'll make sense, but this tone doesn't really appear down here yet, so we're going to introduce it here so that later it all looks like it's meant to be. Soften that up. Yeah, I'm liking that better. Definitely liking that better. When I do my final sharpen, I'll really chisel in like the silhouette of this to make it insanely sharp to give that final photographic effect, but right now just blending these tones in together, I do feel better about this. Bum, bum, ba-dum, All right, while we have the camera zoomed in, look at the thumbprint that's stuck in here from the previous session, huh? Let's go in and start carving out some of those tones. And all I'm gonna do is dip in and blend in darker, and dip in and blend in darker, and dip in and blend in darker. And then once I have all those tones on the panel, use my blender brush and kind of push them into each other. Just erase this whole orangey section of messiness. Back up the values now because we have some illumination coming from this direction. Back up the value structure as it comes around to this light source. See, it's getting brighter now, getting close to that light, that shining light from the stage door. It doesn't have to come up to full white, but I do want to see it a little bit brighter than where we're at currently. The right tone or not. No, but that'll do. Alright, let's scoot this a little closer for you. Better. Cool. Alright. That highlight looks too bright coming from the light, even though there's a direction of light shooting this way. It's a little too bright, so let's average it out. Yes. My wife pops in, she whispers, "Are you live?" And I say, "Yep." She goes, "Okay, I love you, bye." Adorable. Alright, sweet. So now I have those down. Now I can use this dry brush and just kind of push them into each other, just applying pressure along the seams of the tones where you see the differentiating values and hues, just pushing down. And look at that. It's just softly smashing one tone into the adjacent one and making a nice smooth blend. Cool. Feel better about that already. What else should we do while we're zoomed up here? Maybe take care of this edge. I had a thing, let me move my camera again. It happened last section where her arm got super skinny because I ran over it with some of that background tone. Let's widen it back out. Let's make it a thicker arm. And that is... I might need to pour out some black for that, but let me see if I can do it with this raw umber. I have raw umber, I have alizarin crimson, I have French ultramarine blue. If I mix them all together, we get anybody? Special sauce. Special sauce is almost black. Almost black, but without having ever pouring out the color black. I was out for the night. See you next stream, possibly. Thanks for chatting with me. Absolutely. My pleasure, Cadet. Have a safe trip. Enjoy your bats. Gotta kind of indicate the hump of where the elbow is going to be right there. And then this is mostly tricep coming down that way. But this is a little messy on my paintbrush. This brush is getting a little funky on me. So let me mix it up with some liquid, makes it a little slipperier. Spread the pigment a little bit easier. And then just as though I'm glazing, I can now buff out this edge, or on this side, but leave the sharpness of this top edge, and then that'll allow me to make a little bit smoother of an arm shape here. Alright, so now that I got that going, come in once again with my dry brush. We're just gonna buff these new tones into the old stuff. I feel like I need to make this arm bigger. Like, it just got super skinny on me. So let's do some more. Let's go back in and reintroduce some muscle definition to this arm. Let's come way higher on this side. And let it taper down to the wrist. Need some more special sauce. Yeah, now we're getting better. Okay, cool. That feels better. Better, closer, warmer. So this needs to receive a little bit more light because there is some sort of ambient universe light coming down this way, even if one light source is coming in here from the stage doors and one light source is coming here from the neon signs. Right now it puts the highlight just where this is left. We haven't really been focusing too hard on this tattoo sleeve yet. Maybe we will next stream, I'm not sure. But it is getting close to time to have to dial in these tattoos. But right now it looks like the highlight's in the middle, as though like my point of view is shining some light on it. That doesn't work. So we have a lot of wet paint on the panel right now. Let me see if I can buff this out. And if we can add a little bit of more obvious direction of light coming from the top, then let's do that right now. If it's too wet to do that, we can just wait for this to set up overnight and do it tomorrow. So in order to do that, we'll need to grab a fleshy tone. We don't have to, we're not dealing with like straight up, you're not dealing with morons here. We're not dealing with straight up like white or reflected skin, but a lot of times when light illuminates a tattooed arm, like even like mine, let's see if I can pull this effect out. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. My lighting here. This way, got it. You see how on the far edge here, it kind of makes it harder to read the tattoos, and it's almost as though it's just regular skin tone again, and it's darker in the middle. I'm gonna try to pull that off on here. So it doesn't have to get the full brightness or full flesh colored, but at least it gets towards the disappearing edge, gets less black, less tattooy, and more vaguely skin tone. So let's see what I can do with that. Again, this may be too wet at this point to do this. We gonna find out as a team. I wonder what type of sleeve I should have. Obviously, it's a pretty saturated. It's not a blackout sleeve, but it's pretty saturated tones. What kind of tattoos would a ballerina have? That's the main question. This is gonna work beautifully. Right now, we're not going for any definition in these tattoos. We're not trying to figure out. We're not blocking in like where the roses would go if it was a sleeve of roses, for instance. We're just trying to mott down the under texture that the tattoos will then go over, and have the direction of light wrapping around the arms a little bit more realistically. It's definitely a black and gray sleeve, though, I can tell you that much. I'm not going to do any color in this sleeve. A little bit of the warm flesh tone that was peeking through here earlier, we kind of lost that, so I'm going to put a little bit of that back in. That's definitely too warm, way too chromatic. That's alright. So we will knock it down immediately. Yeah, I think next stream should be the tattoo stream, huh? I feel like I have some unfinished business with this arm that I'm not going to be able to dial in right now. Pretty nice. We're getting somewhere. I like this. See how much more orangey these tones are than this hand right here? While it does make sense that this is closer to a warm light and this is closer to a white light, it does look like this hand is a little pale and dead. So it's always a fool's errand to try to make a big decision at the end of the stream, because then I always do something I'm like, I don't like it, but let's make that hand closer to the doorway over there, a little bit more on the orange side. Which, you know what? It's probably going to be better achieved with a straight glaze coat rather than trying to repaint all those fingers. So let me find a nice soft brush. I'm going to mix it in with this mid-tone orange that we had pulled up earlier. I'll wipe off most of it, and let's just, oops, sorry, clipped my mic. Let's just gently, I will zoom back in for you guys. We'll just gently glaze an orangey tone on top of this, so as to warm it up really quick. Man, the back of my paintbrush keeps hitting my mic. Sorry if it's clipping your ears. And we have all of the colors pulled out right now that we used on the other arm. Let me see if I can zoom out so I can get us both of these hands at the same time. Now, you can see it's more yellowed, it's more orange. Let's dial in these similar tones over here, but now over this way. And then we shall call it a stream at that point. All right, so I want some of this warm, richer shadow tone. That'll be where the light hits it the least. So more down here, in between the fingers a little bit. It's gonna come up towards the light, so I'm gonna come into this color. Remember, in our world, we make the rules, right? So if this was a photograph of this ballerina, we could just stare at the color and be like, oh, what color are these supposed to be? And then try to match that painting. But, and this happens in photography sometimes, the light on one side of the photograph might be temperatured a little bit different than on the other side, and then it could have like a weird look when you finally get it into pigment on panel that doesn't make sense. So we're going to call an audible, and even though that this is a white light over here, we're going to give it the same warmth of all the other flesh tones. This isn't profound, this is just a decision that we're making on the fly. I'm losing some definition around here, that's fine, I can dial that back in. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Feeling better already. This is really orange on the tips because of that orange light. I'm not going to get the orange that bright, but you can see it's definitely way more in that family now, that warm family. I want to put some pigment down to fix this transition between the highlight and the shadow right there where there's that really harsh line of demarcation. So I will drop a tone that's in between the two, and then we'll blend those together. Even though I do think the side palm is a great muscle group to focus on right here, so we can tell that we're looking at the side of the hand and that this is the underneath. So that demarcation should be there to a degree, but as you can see, while I'm blending it out, it just makes a lot more sense this way. And then the last thing I'm going to do before we sign off here is reshape these fingertips, because right now it looks like it has a ghostly glow, like it's the ghost of hand past. That background there is like a kind of a rustier tone, so I'm just going to jump right into this raw umber, little orange, cat orange. That should give us our tone we're looking for, and then we can carve in around those fingertips. This is too bright of a value. It's a little bit more raw umber. Let's carve in around these fingertips. Still evidence of the push-pull method, where you add some, you remove some, you add some, you remove some, you add some, you remove some, until you get to where you're trying to go, you know? In doing this, the index finger, or I'm sorry, the middle finger, just got a little too short, so we're gonna push some more pigment in, and then we can pull those edges back down. See, it's a little bit better for the length there. I can imagine that that index disappears into the background there, so I'm not too worried about that. We'll come back in and we'll try to make this look less like a phallic object or less of like an arrowhead. Look at that. Just dial in a more natural shape. Loving it. If you're enjoying these videos, I would love it if you can add a like to it. Give it a little thumbs up so we can bump ourselves up. If you're super enjoying it, I would absolutely adore it if you were to subscribe. Apart from that, we're going to call this one quits for the day. I'm happy I got to do this. There's a little bit of a funk at the beginning of this episode that I feel like I've been pulled out of. And as our shining cadet in the chat told us, that often happens with art, and they're absolutely correct. Boom. Dominoes, mother. Nice. All right, cool. Got the hands looking better. Absolutely. New shadows here, new differentiation there, smoother, like it. Sleeve, we get the lighting's making more sense, the hands making, I think we got it. I think we can call it. Thanks again. I will see you guys probably next time.